Welcome to Interviews with Adele.
Hi, I'm Adele from Innovation Advanced Recruitment, and this evening I'm here with my colleague Cal Wilson, and we're going to be chatting to Michelle Mills. Michelle is an author, a speaker, and a serial entrepreneur. Michelle, can we start off with asking you what inspired you to write?
What inspired me to start writing? Well, I attended a seminar. The seminar was hosted by a publisher, and what does a publisher need? He needs authors. So teach people how to write a book and I'll publish it for you. And his whole angle was your book is your business card. And you need to understand what is your intention behind the book. What kind of business do you want to get by giving that book to people? He doesn't advocate, funny enough, selling books, but actually giving it out as a business card because people don't throw books away. So I went there, I had to learn what I had to learn, and I started figuring out what do I want to do. And somebody asked a question at the back, and he was an insurance salesperson, and he wanted to sign up soccer players for whatever his insurance product was. And as he asked the question, I thought, players? What about the fans? I've since learned that there's only 1,000 professional soccer players in South Africa, but 50% of South Africans are soccer fans. So that's about 25 million.
Yes.
Okay. And I thought, okay, but then what do we do? Because as you mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur. I've done various direct selling, multi-level marketing businesses. So where do I get stuck with multi-level marketing? And it's invariably, step one, multiple streams of income. Where grassroots, if I speak to my domestic worker about multiple streams of income, it goes straight over her head. Because it's a case of I must resign this job and get another job.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah,
but the fact that he mentioned soccer, I thought, but hang on, let's use soccer as an analogy for finances. You don't send a single striker in to score a goal. Sure, there was one time in Germany in 1950 something where that was their soccer formation. They only won one game with that.
The fact that you know that.
I had to do a fair amount of research. Okay. But now I've got the language where I can say to them, but you send 3 or 4 strikers up, so they've got support to score the goal. We don't realize how much we take for granted in terms of what's between our ears and what we can teach another person. And one of the other seminars I went to, Scott Pick, and he said his dad's favorite saying was, the one-eyed man can lead the blind. And I always thought I had to be this professional, qualified, certified financial planner. I thought, yes, there's a space for that. But let's look at, can that person actually help my domestic worker? And the answer is no. They're completely different language levels. So I thought, okay, well, let's start with my domestic worker. Okay, first challenge, my domestic worker doesn't buy books. But if I've got the N with the soccer, she might buy a soccer magazine. So maybe we can get this into a soccer magazine as well. Where am I going to start with her? Easy. Grow your own vegetables. Grow your own vegetables. Number one, you know what's in the soil, because you can see whether the dogs are using that area or not. And that, when I through the multi-level marketing training that I've gone through, Kiyosaki was one of the first ones I came across, and he always says personal financial responsibility. And people think you have to be a bookkeeper to have a basic understanding, so deny it, push it away.
I'm bad at finance. I just don't understand finance, and that's a lot of people's.
But everybody, we all start off bad. The first day you tried bookkeeping, it was probably exactly. But you learn, and as I was saying about those WhatsApp clips that I was playing around with, you start, you make mistakes, you try again, you try again until you get it right. If you're really stuck, you ask somebody else. You go onto YouTube
you get a bit of guidance, you get a bit of help. Yeah.
You go onto YouTube, you'll be surprised what you can find, and figure out.
Almost get a degree on YouTube.
Exactly. In fact, you can. That's one of those things that I found that I've also put into the book, where I found that Google works really well if you know what to put into
what you're
Google.
Looking for.
Yes, exactly.
We were chatting just now about financial terms and how people are put off by financial terms, and I think this is where your book becomes such a gem, because it makes what's scary to some of us much more digestible.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, coming back to how I got onto the book with the financial literacy for soccer fans, And I realized that if there's a way to draw the analogy between finances and soccer, so as I said, you're not going to send one person in to score a goal, but then what other analogies can I draw out of that? And the classic one is, bearing in mind, my soccer knowledge is limited at best. Okay, I've had to do a fair amount of research. This whole formations thing, and that's just chapter 1. Formations thing was alien to me. But yeah, you get, here's a gem. The fun part about it, you ask a guy a question and he'll carry on talking for half an hour or more on whatever, because he's passionate about it.
Yes.
And that's what I think is the critical thing, is if we can get people as passionate about financial literacy as they are about soccer. I mean, there was this guy I worked with, and I tell you what, if he came to work on a Monday in yellow, that Chiefs won. And he was just waiting for somebody to ask, and he would give you a blow by blow. Now, if I could get him that passionate about financial literacy,
Yes.
and in trying to draw research for the book, and I'd say to people, do you remember that game? It was a World Cup game. I think it was in the 1970s with South America, and that guy scored an own goal. That's all I say. They finished the story for me. I've had 3 different variations of it, including whether the guy who scored the own goal got assassinated or not. Okay, because let's face it, these guys are passionate.
Yes.
Okay.
There was an instance, yes.
Exactly. And here's the point. That analogy is signing surety. Because we're talking about a game from 30 odd years ago, and people remember detail by detail, blow by blow, specifics, and signing surety is that harsh a reality. Don't think for a minute that because the bank gives you that piece of paper that you can't strike that out. You can strike it out. Okay, they might not give you the loan. So what?
Michelle, do you think this is something that could be introduced more into the school curriculum?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I hadn't actually, like I said, I'm still so focused on the book and how it's
just
taken.
to your opinion.
I don't see why not. It's just a question, I think, then of getting backing, because obviously there's a cost involved to getting it out there.
Yeah.
But again, to make it palatable, because I remember, look, I did accounting at school, or bookkeeping as it was called, and not everybody did that. So
No.
I'm not scared to at least start and go as far as I can before I get stuck, and then ask for help.
Ask for some help.
And like we were saying, make it palatable and interactive.
And a bit more fun, because finance, let's be honest, has got a very straight-laced kind of attitude to it. People say, well, finance people are boring, and finance people, they just sit in the office and they move papers around, which, let's be fair, there is a lot of truth in that.
Sure.
But
they get paid
most
well.
people, but most people don't want to even have anything to do with finance.
Finance
I'm
is
terrible
serious
with finance.
stuff.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even look at my bank statements. I'm terrible with finance.
No.
And I mean, it's a nightmare when you actually hear that. But there's hundreds and thousands of people who never ever look at all the stuff that comes in. Their car payments. They don't check that it's right, that they're not being charged for anything extra.
freaks
And I
me.
think that you're being like pedantic when you say check your stuff.
Yeah, that freaks me to hear that,
Yeah, I know,
because
it's ridiculous.
I mean, not that I'm the most diligent in those, but the minute something goes through that's questionable,
Exactly.
you
Just keep
don't
an
know.
eye and just check that nothing looks odd.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my son just bought a car, and his first payment was 200 rand more than what was on the agreement. And I'm
Right.
saying to him, don't be a ninny. Phone them and ask them what they're doing.
Yeah.
But he's like, I hate speaking to people. No. Well, so you'd rather give 200 rand a month to a complete stranger. Why don't you just throw it out your window at the passing, some guy passing in the street?
Yeah.
To try and get him to actually step up and say, well, you can't just take my money. It's my money.
Exactly.
So to try but it's just that they're terrified of actually getting involved in case maybe they asked a question they don't understand or don't know how to answer. But it is. There's this
I
inbreed
think it's a
fear
confidence
of dealing
thing,
with
again, is
contracts
because-
and finance things.
Yeah, because so many people do feel intimidated by
Yeah.
contracts and banks. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
you sort of go in there a little bit quivery,
Yes.
I better behave. Michelle, tell us, when is your book going to be available?
I'm wanting to launch it around September in 2016, hopefully around the time of the next Soweto derby, because that's always
Okay.
Chiefs and Pirates. It's always a vibe. Let's surf that wave while
Okay.
it's coming out.
So we know to keep an eye out around about that time.
Yes.
Where will we find your book? How will we be able to buy your book?
Well, there's the website www.fromfantofortune.co.za, and it's also on Facebook. It's got its own Facebook page, From Fan to Fortune. on Facebook, and I'll obviously post on social media as to when it's available
When
and
it's
coming out.
available.
And also, if I'm doing public speaking events, I'll be posting that on the Facebook page as well.
So you're going to keep us updated.
Absolutely.
Michelle, thank you so much.
Only a pleasure. Thanks for having me.